Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Jess, and today I will be sharing with you my all-time favorite Amazon products for your classroom. Now, as you may know, I have taught for 5 years, and this would have been my 6th year of teaching, but I am taking the year off because my husband and I are expecting a baby in March, and I just decided to stay home and focus on our family. So that has been exciting. However, I did want to share with you guys some of my must-haves that I have ordered off of Amazon for those first 5 years of teaching because they made such a difference. Now, most of these items are targeted towards the primary grades or elementary grades, but there are some items in here as well if you teach middle school or high school that could be beneficial to you as well. So if you are interested in seeing what my Amazon classroom must-have items are, then just keep watching. Now, if you see the camera shaking a little bit, that is because my dog Chief is down on the floor. Yep, there we go, right there. He is so hot. I just threw the football outside with him a little bit ago, and so he is panting and he's really hot. So I apologize. He is cooling off still, and so of course he has to be everywhere that I am, any time of the day. So I do apologize for that. Chief! He is a hot mess right now. Oh my gosh. Come on. Okay. So, as I said, these items can be beneficial for all teachers or even student teachers if you guys want to start preparing for your own classroom, but most of these items are targeted towards the younger grades. So let's go ahead and jump in to my top 10 Amazon classroom must-haves. By the way, if you are interested in any of these items, I will have all of them linked down below. So my first classroom must-have is some kind of rolling cart. Now, you can find these at Michael's, but when I went, they didn't have the color that I wanted. I wanted black because I wanted it to go with anything and everything, or just any kind of theme that I would have going on from year to year. So this 3-tiered black rolling cart that I purchased from Amazon was amazing when I taught 2nd grade last year. I personally used mine as a guided reading cart. So I kept all of my essential guided reading materials on that cart, and then I would just wheel it over to my guided reading table for my groups, and then when we were done, I would either roll it back or have a student roll it over back to where I would store it. That way I didn't have it out all the time. I would just roll it over when I needed those materials, and it worked out perfectly. Now, you can use these for all kinds of things. You can use these as an art center, you can put books on here, you can use these for just your teacher supplies. The possibilities are endless, but you definitely need to get yourself a rolling cart. This can be used in all grade levels for all teachers, and I definitely would consider this a classroom essential. So number 2 is one of my absolute favorite things. It is what I wear to tell the kids, "Don't bug me." These have been a lifesaver for me in kindergarten, 3rd grade, and 2nd grade. I used them in all 3 grade levels, and they work like a charm. So for example, I would use these again in a guided reading group. When I had a group with me at my teacher table, I would just wear them, and when the kids saw these on my head, they would know, "Don't bug me." So if for some reason, obviously, if there was an emergency or, they really needed me for something, then yes, of course. If there's an emergency, come and talk to me. However, when they are at their centers, they are supposed to be working either independently or in their groups. And so at that time, when I'm with my reading group, they are expected not to bug me or not to come to me with any questions that they can either find out the answer to themselves or they can ask another student for. A rule that I had kind of set up for this is ask 3 before you ask me. So if there is something pressing that they need to come to me for, then yes, of course they can come and talk to me, but otherwise, don't bug me. This is a great way to communicate with your students non-verbally. It saves your teacher voice. It saves you from having to say, "Go sit down, go back to your center, go to your group," and they can just see that once those are on your head, I would literally just point to them. If a student would walk up to me about to ask me a question, I would just point to them, and then if it was an emergency, they would tell me, and if not, then they go back to their seat without me even having to say a single word or interrupt my reading group. Number 3 is something that you guys have asked me about a lot. It is Tattle Turtle. Now, Tattle Turtle was something that I added into my 2nd grade classroom last year towards the end of the year. I think I maybe got him maybe the second half of the year starting in January, and he was a lifesaver, you guys. Oh, I love my tattle turtle. So I ordered this little tattle turtle. He is about 5 inches long, I think. When you click the link, it will tell you exactly how long he is. But oh my gosh, he is the cutest thing, first of all. And my students last year had a really, really hard time, especially after recess, with tattling. So this was an amazing way for, again, the kids to not have to communicate with me about it if it's a tattle versus a report. Again, if there is an emergency, if someone is hurt, or if there is something serious going on, I want to know about it, and that would be a report. However, if this is something that I don't really need to know about, but Tattle Turtle can tell me about it later after school, then they need to go tell Tattle Turtle. So I know it's kind of a tongue twister. So basically I just kept Tattle Turtle in a little tiny bag that I got from 31 Gifts from a teacher friend that I had last year. And I set it up by my desk, and when the kids would come in from recess, as the rest of us were getting settled on the carpet, or some of the kids were getting water, if a student had a tattle that they were gonna come tell me, they would turn and go to Tattle Turtle instead and take him and whisper the tattle into Tattle Turtle's ear. It was amazing because it took care of the majority of the tattling. Not all of it, but the majority of it. So it really just cut down on the tattling in our classroom. And second grade, I don't know what it is about second grade, but I think second graders tattled the most out of all of the grades that I have taught, and I'm not really sure why. So anyway, let me know if you guys have noticed that as well, if you have taught different grade levels. It would be interesting to kind of see, you know, if that was just my class or if it is kind of across the board. So anyway, so again, this item is targeted mostly towards the younger grades, but it really, really works if you implement it correctly, and I highly recommend you get yourself a Tattle Turtle. So number 4 is a book that I purchased a little bit later on in the school year last year, and that is My Mouth is a Volcano. So at this time, I had noticed that the students started getting, you know, more comfortable with each other, more comfortable in the classroom, and it wasn't right at the beginning of the year. You know, the school year had progressed a little bit. And so once the kids start to feel really, really comfortable with you, they start to not really, I guess, follow the rules and expectations as much unless you kind of go back and revisit them or reiterate them in a purposeful and meaningful way. Now that doesn't mean just going back and say, raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand. Instead, I wanted to involve the kids in going back and revisiting those expectations so that they could figure out what was expected and what they were supposed to be doing, rather than me just kind of lecturing them all the time. So I wanted them to kind of reflect back and think about why we have rules and expectations and why it's important that we follow those rules and expectations, and to hold themselves accountable. This book was really great in helping me do so. Basically, it is about this little boy who just blurts out all the time. He forgets to raise his hand. He blurts all the time, just shouts things out, talks when he's not supposed to be talking. And because of the nature of the book, you know, the kids see this volcano, and that is like the mouth erupting with blurts and talking out of turn. They love that. They think it's hilarious, and they just absolutely loved this book. And it was just a great way for us, again, to kind of have that discussion as to why we don't talk when others are talking and how to be respectful and things of that nature. So again, if you teach in the younger grades, this is a great way to go back and revisit how to raise their hand and not talk when someone else is talking. All of those key points are covered in this book. Now, number 5 can be used in any grade level. These are sign holders. Now, I just get these clear acrylic sign holders where you can slip a piece of paper in. It fits an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and these are great because they are freestanding. I use them for centers all the time. I used them in my classroom last year for my daily 5 rotations. They can be used for pretty much anything. You don't have to worry about students knocking them over and breaking them. They are extremely durable, and it's just very nice and easy to change things in and out. If you change out your centers a lot, or if you have specific tasks that you want your older students to do in your classroom, you can have all of the directions right there for them so that it's freestanding and they can easily see what they need to do. So these are really versatile. You can use them for a lot of different things. I have used them for open house and meet the teacher night, all kinds of things. So definitely get yourself some sign holders. These can be used in any grade level, and they are definitely a must-have. Number 6 are sticky clips. These things are amazing. Oh my gosh. So sticky clips are just these little white hooks that have a self-sticking adhesive on the back, and they are reusable. So that's what I love so much about sticky clips, is that you can use them from year to year and they will work just fine. They will hold all year. Personally, I have found that they have held year after year in my classroom with different items, and that's after being packed away and put up for the summer and then reused. So I have used these for my calendar numbers. I have used these for my alphabet hanging on the wall when I taught kindergarten. They really, again, are just very versatile. As teachers, we love to put things on the walls in our classroom so that students can easily see them and reference them throughout the school day. But instead of hot gluing or using sticky tack that gets all stuck to the wall, which yes, I have used both of those too, and they're fine, sticky clips sometimes come in a little bit more handy than the sticky tack or hot glue because it doesn't peel anything off. They are reusable, like I said, and they just are all around a great product. So I would recommend picking up a couple of packages of sticky clips to use throughout your classroom this year. Number 7 is, of course, student mailboxes. I have ordered a couple of different kinds and they have held up. Now these particular ones are just the cardboard ones. I have spray painted them before, which they really kind of absorb the spray paint and it takes a lot of spray paint to paint them. I'm not crazy about the blue color, but these are definitely the cheapest route if you want an affordable mailbox system that is going to last you all year. Now, of course, I love the wooden ones, but those are very, very pricey. And if your school doesn't already have that, and if you have to provide your own mailboxes for your students, then I would suggest getting these from Amazon. They are a great purchase, and again, they will last you several years. Number 8 are clipboard holders or organizers. Now, these ones are from Really Good Stuff, but you can actually get them on Amazon. Now, I ended up purchasing 2 and just spray painted them black last year. They looked really nice in my classroom. Everything looked very clean and uniform, and it kept all of our clipboards nice and organized. Again, this can be used in pretty much any grade level if you use clipboards often. We always used clipboards on the floor, or if my kids had to go around the room, maybe for Write the Room for that center, or if we were just anything really. My kids loved to be able to use the flexible seating options and sit there with a clipboard, and then they knew exactly where to put them when they were done. And I always just told them to put the silver part of the clipboard towards the sky so that all of my clipboards would face the same way. That just might be me being way too particular, but it worked for me and for my students, and they always knew how to organize them and put them away so that I didn't have to go back after them very often and clean up. Occasionally I would go over there and just kind of straighten them after school, but that was it. They did a really nice job of being able to independently go over, get the clipboard when they needed one, and put it away when they were done. And then my last 2 items, numbers 9 and 10, actually go together. So these are my Desk Fairy door and the Desk Fairy book. Now these do not come as a set, so I will link them separately. Oh my gosh, they are the best thing for helping your students keep their desks clean. Now, I am not a fan of desks, but I did have desks last year instead of tables for the first year, and oh, they just got so messy. I couldn't stand it, you guys. I can't stand messy desks. So what I did is we got a fairy door for our classroom that I stuck up on the wall, and we read the Desk Fairy, which once you read the Desk Fairy book, the students will learn that when they keep their desks clean, the Desk Fairy will actually sometimes come and give them a sweet treat to leave on their desk. Now, the fairy door that I ordered came with a little vial of glitter, and so every so often I would have a student stand up on a chair with, of course, me there to make sure they didn't fall, and activate the fairy door if it had been a while if she hadn't come. Sometimes, you know, the Desk Fairy forgets things though, so you have to make sure that you can handle something else on your plate, of course, but it's really simple. I would usually just have little Hershey Kisses as sweet treats, or, you know, just something small to put on their desk to reward them for a nice, clean, or tidy desk. The younger kids just go crazy for the Desk Fairy. I mean, I even had other kids from other classrooms that would come to me for my intervention groups, and they would be like, Mrs. Nichols, when is the desk fairy going to come to our class? We want Oreos. So, you know, it was so much fun, and my kids absolutely loved it. They felt that it was so cool that the desk fairy came to their classroom. It's kind of like an elf on the shelf thing, and they just get so excited about it. But I would say for the younger grades, if you are willing to add something else to your plate, which I know you may not be, but I promise it's worth it, and for your own sanity, I guess, with the clean desks, I would highly recommend bringing a fairy door and the desk fairy book into your classroom. And on TPT, if you just search desk fairy notes, there are some freebies on there so you can kind of just fill in the student's name, and that way the students will get a little note with their sweet treat from the desk fairy. So they love it. So that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed my top 10 Amazon Classroom must-haves. If you are a teacher, or if you are going into teaching and you want to start building your classroom materials kind of now so that it doesn't all hit you at once in your first year of teaching, because I promise it will, then go ahead and check out the links below. Get yourself some of these classroom essentials so that you're not missing out. Also, drop a comment down below if there is something in particular that you consider a classroom must-have or an essential item for your classroom. I would love to know what you guys must have in your classroom as well, not only to give me ideas for, you know, if I go back into the classroom, but also to share amongst you guys and to give ideas to each other. If you haven't already, please don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and click that subscribe button so that you don't miss any future videos. See you guys next time. Bye!